Hey interwebs, welcome back to Crash Test Gaming. We are picking up with Arms Trade Tycoon tanks where we left off, except where we left off with a bug in our game. I've replayed it, so we've come through with a slightly later date, and this time hopefully no bug, but if we pull up the news feed we will see that a new trophy tank has appeared. The British Empire has achieved remarkable success by obtaining a rival's tank, the Camulus MLE-1. So instead of the German tank that we had earlier that caused the error, this time we've got a French tank. I would have preferred to have pulled apart an LK, but the Camulus MLE-1 is the tank we're going to be pulling apart. The French usually make good engines, so hopefully that'll have a decent engine. So if we go to the world map and we go to the British trophy tanks, and it's successfully loaded the model, so this is good. It's a pretty cheap tank to make, so only 7,000 to build, 61,000 for us to buy this, so we will buy it and we will go to reverse engineering and have a look at this. Oh, it's not the one with the big gun coming out of the front. It's got a small, looks like almost a little shotgun coming out the side here. That is a 75mm. Oh wow, that is it looks like a sawn-off shotgun. That's pretty sweet. Nice, just going off on an angle. I hope they don't want to shoot straight ahead, but yeah, if the enemy is on the right hand side of this vehicle, it's going to make mincemeat of them. So that's got a nice gun. It's got two machine guns, one either side. If we just have a look at the protection on the front, I think our Mark 1 is about 18 units. We'll pretend that's millimeters. So we've got about 25mm of frontal armor there, rather than the 18 that we're currently working with. So this and it's a little thicker on the side. I think the Mark 1's 10mm on the side. This one's 12 and 11 on the rear. Although that gun doesn't look very strong, but I wonder if we could stick in a long-barreled 57mm in there instead, because I think our 6-pounders are probably more effective than that 75mm, even though they're about 20mm smaller in bore size. But that's an aside. We will reverse engineer this. I think we'll just start at the beginning, reverse engineer the hull. Have a look at the French parts, see if it's any good. So the crew requirements on the engine are 4. So that looks about the same as our current ones, with an attribute sum of 132. I think our Tyler engine is about 150. So this looks like it's actually going to be a weaker engine. But hopefully we'll be able to use some of these parts into our engines. They might be more effective than what we've currently got. Anyway, we'll begin pulling it apart. 35 days to figure out how to put the hull together. So we'll start with that one. So the times have blown out a lot longer than they were in the beta. In the beta, it was only about a week to disassemble each part of a captured tank. So that, I think, will do quite a good job in balancing it, because you could capture a tank and put it together pretty quickly. So we'll go back and I'll catch you up on what happened with the replay. I think we're currently delivering a contract. So our third contract came up. We did a new tank design, although I think we did this design in the other game. I'm just trying to remember. So this is a hermaphrodite tank. It's got a 47mm or 3-pounder gun on one side, and it's got 2 machine guns on the other side. So this is the tank we've made to hit this contract. We're going to make a decent profit on it. We asked for 49,000 and got it, and we're selling them 30 tanks. They're in the midst of being shipped as we speak, so that'll give us a total of just over 1 million units or pounds. And we need to deliver it by the 14th of the 6th, so as you can see, plenty of time. So those have been manufactured, they've been sent off, they're 13 days away from being delivered. And we'll go to the design bureau and see what we've been up to. So we are currently working on, I wonder if I can There we go. There's a bit of a glitch there before. So we've got the bilby, and we had our base bilby, but while we were designing these tanks, we've also researched AP machine gun ammo, and we've researched the 47 petrol. So we did a clone version of the tank, and we're calling it the Mark A bilby, and in that we've put the AP ammo and the petrol, but otherwise the design is exactly the same. And we also did that with the Joey, except we did rename it. It wasn't called the clone. Oh, we're currently working on. We can't change the name on that. Well, we didn't name it clone. I did find out from one of the viewers that instead of calling the tanks the Mark 1, the British had the habit of naming the tanks the Mark 1, then Mark 2, Mark 3 for major upgrades, and they used the star system for minor upgrades. So this would have been the Mark 1 star, and that Mark 1 prototype just would have been the Mark 1. And unfortunately, we can't use the star in naming our tanks. It's an illegal character. But I went for a different naming system than the historical one with my tanks. So this one's going to be called the Joey, a bit of an Australian flavour. The Mark 1 infantry fighting vehicle, because that's a specialist role, because it's got machine guns on the side and the smaller 47mm 3-pounder on the other side. So less of an anti-tank vehicle and more of an anti-infantry vehicle. And we'll still have to design a model that is used for anti-tank warfare, although we are currently researching the Mark 5, and we will probably do it on the basis of that hull. It's quite some way away. It's 46 days to go on the basic Mark 5. We should be able to run a version of that with our current tracks and engine, although we will want to get to a new set of tracks and a new engine for that in the mobility section. And as you can see, we did the AP munitions in the research for firepower. We kind of just skipped the tracer munitions and went for AP munitions instead, and we'll probably pick up the improved naval gun and anti-infantry rounds. We might skip the machine side fed machine gun and go straight for the heavier, I think it's the Vickers, the Vickers machine gun, but we're not quite there yet. And anything else happen in our replay? Yes, that's right. Our tanks did great and they did terrible. So in the fight against the artillery, we actually did better than we did last time, knocking off 50% casualties on them. We killed 12 of them. It was a great victory for the Mark 1 Mark 1s, but when we came up against the infantry here, we failed across the board. We did not have a good outing. We failed on deployment. The tank's sluggish mobility, which the officer that was blowing smoke up my ass last time is telling me all these terrible things about my tanks. It's been a hindrance on the battlefield. The recon's been terrible. The targeting was terrible. Or didn't even select any of our weapons because they all failed. They all were unable to hit the enemy. If we did manage to, we didn't miss anything because we didn't fire any of our weapons because we failed our targeting. But yeah, pretty much everything, because we didn't fire our weapons. No ricochet, no penetration, no damage. But the tanks we damaged on deployment, so you'll see there, we damaged 3. There is a small bug in the game. It's saying that 1 was destroyed there, although no tank was destroyed. So I'm not sure where that goes from, because we repaired 3 here, and we've still got, as you can see, 20 on the map. So still not completely free from bugs. Hopefully the devs are working hard to get all that fixed by the time early access comes around. And so, yeah, tanks didn't do so well in the second battle there against the Belgians, so that was disappointing. But our tanks are on the way for us to get paid, in which case when that happens we'll pay back our loan and we will rejoin when something is happening. So just bear with us. Okay, so this whole time I have been wondering how we unlock tier 2 buildings. I mean, in research I've got 4 upgrades, I can't build any more. How do I get to tier 2? I've got the 4 buildings, how do I keep on expanding my different facilities? Administration, 4 buildings. Pretty sure production? Oh no, I haven't done 4 production, just 3. But this is my point. This whole time it's been staring me in the face though, and I didn't realise. Under the achievements button, which I hadn't even pressed until just before. So if we go into the achievements, we can look at the score as we gather it. The interwar era or tier 2 will provide you access to new technologies, building upgrades and valuable achievement rewards. So, to reach tier 2, we need 400,000 points. We've only got 10,049 points at the moment. And as we can see, as we move along with the points, which as we can see we gain it for employees hired, administrators hired, facilities built, finances. So I guess this will be locked behind making an absolute barrel of money and resources and technology and all that sort of thing. I'm assuming the end technologies of the First World War probably where a lot of points are squirreled away and contracts secured. We are going to shoot up here eventually, but it's very slow going at the moment. And as we reach milestones, so we've got 10,000 points so far, we reach 30,000, we'll unlock a new administrator. I thought these things were just unlocking on a timer, but it's tied to the amount of points that we collect, and so that is extra incentive for us to do very well and to get every penny out of the contracts. So I think I'll have to start paying a bit more attention as to where my money's going, rather than just, oh yeah, we've got enough. And speaking of money, time for me to order more things in. But anyway, just to let you know, that's where it's been hiding the whole time. So it's a points-based system, and I'm betting a lot of those points are in research at this stage. We'll have to have a look further when we get a lot further along the tree. But that's interesting for now. I'll just continue time. We're almost at the end of this reverse engineering process for the French tank, and there we go. So we'll go into reverse engineering, and we shall start on the engine. So we shall reverse engineer that. That'll take 27 days, and we shall go design, I think this is the Schneider frame. We will we'll engineer our own anyway. Medium whippet. Yes, the Schneider CA. So we'll put some shell storage in it. The French hatch is very cheap. Oh, and very light. Very light, so we'll stick with that. Hull door. I think we'll go for our own hull door Mark II. No vision ports as of yet. We shall toughen this up. This is going to add an extra 250 kilos, but that's going to be very strong. Now, how are their bolts compared to our English bolts? Not quite as safe, but it does provide more structure. So, how much crew safety do we have at the moment is the question. Crew performance, crew safety 19. I think we can sacrifice a bit of crew safety. We'll go for the French bolts and have a bit more structure on our tank. The French have the better vision ports, so we might want to redo our Bilby hull and our Mark I hull the way this is going. So we'll add some fuel and some ammo as well. So we'll make that's going to take our engineers 9 days. Well, we've only got 10 staff on it. We might need to hire a few more engineers for this design process, because we're going to want to redo a whole lot of our structures to include those French parts. So I will go to administration, hire another 10 engineers. Oh. Did I have 20 on that already? I could have sworn I only had 10. Maybe I'll just go and fire those 10 engineers now. Or maybe we've got some design work for them. No, I will keep them hanging around just because I loathe firing people. I shall pay them to do nothing. They deserve a holiday. And we will we'll continue along the way and be back shortly. Okay, so our fourth contract has come in, and it's just something interesting that's come up. So as we can see here, the computer has started to iterate their tanks, which they weren't doing before in the beta, which was a bit of an issue because you'd always be completing about the same tanks. So now our competitor for business in Great Britain has come up with the Hector Mark II, which is marginally better than their old design and is getting a higher success score than they were before. Not by much, it's only about 8 points stronger, but it is showing some improvement then. So this is an excellent development for the game and should provide more of a challenge moving forward. That was just of interest, so I thought I'd bring it up. We'll be going with the revision 1 of the Mark 1 IFV Joey, so that's the Joey with the AP machine gun ammo added to it and the 47 petrol. So that was an iteration on our original Joey design. We'll try and sell them 30 of them for about, I think we sold them for 49,000 last time. We should be able to manage more this time. 50,000, 30 of them. Can we push the date out a bit further? Yeah, we can. Oh, not that much further. We haven't got any in spare supply at the moment, so 8th of the 9th, that gives us 3 months. Well, not quite 3 months. It gives us about 2 months, 2 weeks. We should be able to manage that. So we shall put in for that contract. And that's producing them. We are waiting on an order of goods to come in. That's still 20 days away. So we might cut this rather fine. And we're still pulling the French tank apart. We have designed a Schneider frame to use that for our tanks. If I can pull it up, here we go. So just the Schneider CA Mark 1 is our tank, but it looks like we're going to need to pull apart their engine and create a French engine to go in it. And we shall also need French tracks, which is unfortunate. I haven't actually reverse engineered this before. With the LK tanks from Germany, you can put whippet tracks on them and you can mix and match the engines a bit more. So this is the most fun part of the game. So it would be nice if we could put British versions of tracks on it and some British engines in this and not be limited. We still don't have a turret, so we can't put anything on the top here. We can, however, put a Hotchkiss gun in where that 75mm was. So we can use a long gun instead of that short shorn off 75mm. We've still got to reverse that as well. So there's plenty of work still to be done. I'll keep this episode moving along because we want to advance to the interwar period as soon as possible to see what's... No, we don't want to save that as new. So we can see what else is coming in the tech trees and with the buildings before the for the early access period. So we shall. I'll jump back when there's something to report. So we've just finished designing the Mark V hull, and so we look at designing now an anti-tank vehicle. So the first of our Mark V series. So we'll call this the Mark V Echidna. And we'll put the Tyler twin engine in it. We do need an engine upgrade at some point. It looks like Warhouse tracks. We don't have a turret for the top, so we'll just throw an armoured cover on that. We've still got to research that part. We'll put a couple of male sponsons on for an anti-tank. Now, figure out what kind of weaponry we're going to want. So we don't have the upgraded 6-pounders researched yet. So that's the stats of our 6-pounder. 13 damage, 8 kinetic penetration. And the 3-pounder. It's a lot less kinetic penetration, less damage, much higher accuracy, much higher rate of fire. Oh, decisions. And less damage. Anti-ricochet 14. It's better anti-ricochet. And it'll be less crew if we put the 47mm in, but will they be enough to take on other tanks? We've got AP ammo, which is armor pen kinetic penetration of 15. So the difference is still 5, so it's still going to be about a 20% difference in kinetic penetration once you add the AP ammo to both of those. I think we're going to go with the 3-pounders to begin with, and we'll do we'll put 6-pounders into this tank if required down the line. But I think we should be able to take on. I mean, a 47mm shell should be able to penetrate most tanks of this of the World War I era. So I think we'll stick with that. And machine gun in the front, machine gun in the back. Now the crew is going to be difficult. Commander, driver, couple of gunners, single loader. It'd be good if we could fit a mechanic. We'll just go for 2 mechanics, but a mechanic commander would be a nice fit there. Expendables. Use AP, HE Mark II, HE Mark 1. It seems a bit strange putting HE Mark 1 in, and I'm not sure about this. I'm guessing we've got 3 spaces here because the idea is that you want to put canister ammo in to that 3rd slot. But the ammo seems to be additive, so you put the AP in, that adds a lot of AP potential. You put HE in, that adds a lot of soft damage potential, and they add together for your damage stat. And then you just put in the HB Mark 1 because it's better than nothing, and it just adds on top of the HE Mark 2. But it just seems a little weird in my brain anyway. We'll put in both sets of ammo. So we've got standard ammo that adds on to AP ammo. And then we go for the 47 petrol. And we'll pop a nice little paint job on it. And that'll take $38 days to design. So we'll get our crew working on that. I think I've tested the Joey. Yeah. So we will get rid of the faults that are on this. It's more just giving some fame back. at this stage. And I think I'll pop into, this is the design screen. Yeah, there we go. I think I'll delete the prototype design because I never actually made any of those. We've still got Mark 1s in the field, so just in case we get a contractor to replace them, I'll keep all these tank designs. And need the Mark 5. Where is the Whippet here? I've never made any Bilby Mark 1s, so I will delete that tank design. I might still sell Mark A Bilbies. And that was mainly, so I'll use a lettered naming convention for the medium tanks. So the Bilby will be the Mark A, and then maybe the Hornet will be the Mark B if there's not an upgrade before then. And we will design a new Whippet, I think. I think we'll try the French assembly on that. Put a sight on top of the central cab there. We've got a few upgrades that can be used for this tank. We've got some external communications now. Fuel storage. Vision port, we'll use the Mark II. I think we'll stick with the Mark II over the Mark IV. It's safer, and you just lose 1 millimeter of top armor and 20 kilos, so that's good. And the Holdor Mark II is very much a better one, so we shall redesign that. And we're still, we're on the track, so I could redo the engine. Hold on, I might not do the Whippet yet. We shall do the French engine, because we're going to need that to design our first Schneider, which is a much heavier tank than the Whippet. So, side brakes, MLE3. They're stealthy, they're lighter, so we'll stick with those. These are much lighter and the same stats, so the French make some nice components for the engine here. This is a step up and is lighter. This is worse range. It's a lot lighter. Worse crew comfort. I think we'll add a bit of weight on the radiator there and put the big Mark II radiator in. And transmission, this is much lighter, but it is slower. So I think we'll supercharge the engine a little bit and see if we can't lose some weight where it comes to the tracks, or we keep the French engine the same. So we have to use this engine, but we have to use the tracks as well, so I don't have any tracks there, so I've lost track of what I'm doing here. So all I changed was the radiator Mark II, which increases the range, but I mean we're going to put petrol into the how important is this weight? 115, about 120 kilos. I think we'll stick with the French radio and make it an all French design to begin with, and then maybe design another one afterwards. So once we get that done, we'll do the tracks, and then we can make a British version with British machine guns and maybe a a 6-pounder or a 3-pounder gun. Okay, we'll be back shortly. So just to bring up, guys, we are here in the Great Britain Tank Corps stream, and they have recently added the exploitation tank to their tank menu. So possibility for the 4th Battalion, they will be wanting exploitation tanks, which the silhouette looks a bit like the Whippet, but a Hornet should be in the weight frame for that as well, and the Schneider CA, if we ever get it off the ground, will also be a tank that can fit that role. And if we back out, we haven't got a contract from them yet, but the French are also looking for a wire crusher tank that's around 20 kilos. The silhouette of that looks like the Schneider CA, which we've captured one of, so they might also be looking for a 20-ton tank along that sort of line. So we probably want to start researching Hornets and researching the captured. Well, we're in the midst of doing it at the moment, but just to show that we can get an idea of what's going to be coming up in the future, even though it's not spelled out exactly for us. So we'll want to be looking at our medium tanks for the next set of contracts coming up in 1916. So the tracks have been researched, the Schneider tracks for the Schneider tank. So we can now develop those. And if I move part, here we go. And there's not many parts we can put on those. It'd save a bit of, well, a lot of weight with the British rollers onto that. And we can then spend some of that weight by increasing the range and repairability at the cost of a little bit of agility by getting the Idler, or we can not get quite as big a range. We'll go the Idler Mark III, and then for Sprocket, the Sprocket Mark III is decidedly cheaper in terms of weight, a lot more expensive in terms of man hours, but with better stats. So we will design upgraded tracks for the Schneider MK1. It's interesting to note that that can support quite a heavy tank, these Schneider tracks, 26 ton. But we want to keep anything we build under 20 ton for the upcoming contracts. So we will assign that. Also of interest is, if I bring up the news feed, we can see that there's a new diplomatic agreement. Oh no, not that. Tank Corps. So the Ottoman Empire is looking for the wire crusher tank. We know from France that they were looking at one of those that weigh about 20 tons. So if we pop out to the world map, we can Ottoman Empire. There we go. Tank Corps. They're now in the market for 20-ton wire crusher tanks. So we want to work on a Hornet design and this Schneider design. So we could also upgrade the hull for our Whippet as well, but that'll have to hold off. In the meantime, if we go to reverse engineering, we shall get that snub nose 75mm, the Blockhouse Schneider 75mm. So that's I know the French language and German languages are both romantic languages, so to speak, or based on Latin. But the closeness of their border, a lot of the Eastern French things like Moet Champagne, is they sound just like German things to me. Probably because of my broad Australian accent, I don't understand these things, but I get confused between the two. So it wouldn't have surprised me at all to find a gun like that in a German tank. So I'm sure someone can fill me in the comments. Some people with some expert knowledge on weaponry could tell me if that was originally a German weapon, or if that was French the whole time and it's just a French family with a German sounding name. Anyway, we shall reverse engineer that. Although we might put a 3 or 6 pounder in the tank, we'll we'll just continue on because we should be able to design our first Schneider when the tracks are finished, and we might want to have a look at how that war with Belgium's going. We can see how our tanks are doing. The tanks against the artillery did a great job, but no, we failed again against infantry. So only get up against 7,000 infantry this time, and the performance of our tanks in the field was acceptable, but fails short of excellence. I mean, no tanks were lost, but we didn't inflict any casualties. Continue refining our design. So our targeting is failing us. So, yeah, we didn't target with any of our weapons. So our rate of fire on the 6-pounders is poor. Luckily, 3-pounders that we've got on our Joeys have a much higher rate of fire. And the primary weapon structure on that isn't great. As you can see, we get different scores based on what sort of terrain we're fighting in. So in urban areas, and the landscape, 6.3. Urban areas, yeah, towns, hills, we're not doing well. And turret speed, we don't have a turret at all, so I don't know how we can have turret speed with no turrets on our tanks. We've only got sponsons. So yes, we've failed. We've failed quite miserably there. We didn't fire anything because we failed our targeting, and so no damage, no casualties inflicted anywhere along the way, but nobody hit anything. So I'm guessing the infantry failed as well. Well, they got a target score, so I'm guessing they just missed. Yeah, so our dodge of the Mark 1 was way higher than their plus 16 to hit score. So the tank's not doing great against the infantry, and mainly it could be a lot to do with the fact we're failing on targeting because of the landscape that we're fighting in. So, but we will try and... I think our 3-pounder guns will be more effective than what they currently are, and our machine guns have grown a lot, both in the ammunition types and just general design since the Lewis machine gun. So hopefully our latest tanks running out should start making a difference, but no difference to be made yet. Hopefully we do better with actual infantry fighting tanks. So hermaphrodite tanks might be the way to go. It might be worth redoing a Mark 5 design for a hermaphrodite tank, but that'll do for now. We've got 15 days on our first Mark 5 to be finished. We've got 5 days left on those tracks to be designed, so we will come back in a few moments. Alright, so our Mark 5 has finished being designed, our echidna, so we will get that into testing, and we shall go look at our design possibilities for our French tank. So we shall create the Schneider Mark 1 with the Schneider 4-cylinder engine being our only option we can use on that. It's quite an underpowered engine compared to our Tyler engine. So that gives us a total mass limit of 26.5 tonne, but we're already at 18 tonnes. We've got a no top. So what I'm thinking of there in the 18 tonnes is we want to be under 20 tonnes for the possibility of getting the French and Ottoman Empire contracts. So we save 100 kilos putting in a 3-pounder rather than a 6-pounder. We haven't finished reverse engineering their gun yet. So if we go with a 3-pounder out the side there, which has a rather long barrel, and a couple of Hotchkiss machine guns on either side of this tank, That comes in just under, but once we put crew in, will we still be under? I don't think so. Although that's not adding a great deal of weight. So we are going to need a gunner loader, and 2 mechanics. And we're still a bit short on crew. So with a crew of 6, and once we put the expendables in, so we give them some AP, some HE, only 2 ammo types allowed in this tank, that's interesting. And we'll load it with AP ammo, only a single ammo type for the machine guns. And petrol 47. Seeing the Ottoman Empire might be buying this, we'll get it ready for desert warfare. That'll take 22 days. So it's a very basic design. We might want to see if we can shed some weight so we can fit a 6-pounder cannon in it at some stage. Although if we put a 6-pounder in, we've already seen our 6-pounders on our Mark 1 Mark 1s aren't doing the business though. It'll still come in its weight class. I think we'll put the 47mm in, and we will put researching guns onto our list after researching Hornet. That'll take 22 days to build, or design rather, and we will have a second option for medium tanks, albeit one that's a fair bit heavier. So that's about 4 or 5 tons heavier than the Whippet. And the Whippet's only got the machine guns, remember, so this gives us a medium tank with a cannon. Even though we went for the smaller 47mm cannon, it's got a higher rate of fire and much higher accuracy than the 6-pounder or 57mm. So that will take a few days, and we're still 14 days off the 75mm. So when that's designed, we'll come back. And our Schneider design is complete. As diplomatic goings on in the world, we shall take... We'll go to the testing grounds first. And then we shall take it for a whirl around our test drive course and have a look. So the Schneider CA with our 47mm. This is going to be, oh wow, that is manoeuvrable. It has got a great turning circle. And there, well, it's early access. We've got no sound coming from the Schneider, and it seems to be quite quick off the mark. No problems with the trench. So if you're enjoying the video, guys, it would do me a great favour if you could like it. And if you want to keep on seeing content, throw a subscribe in, and you'll get notified when the next video drops. So I'm planning until the release to try and get videos out daily, and I'm going to try and move things along over the next year or two to get to the interwar period as soon as possible. And hopefully I won't fail too badly in trying to get the machine guns onto these targets. But there's no hum of the engine. So let's see how we go here. I suppose I can use the gun, because otherwise it's going to be pretty hard like this to get it. No problems getting it down. It's a lot more manoeuvrable than the Mark 1s. I should also give the Mark 5 a whirl around the course. I haven't managed to do that yet. And this tank's feeling quite sprightly. It looks more like an APC, I guess, than or how I expect a armoured personnel carrier to look. It looks a bit like a van. But rather than a traditional tank. There's something in the way there that I'm hitting. Maybe I'll just Take the coward's way out and drive right up next to it. There we go. When in doubt, go to point blank range. Easy enough to take out. I don't think I've been around this back way on the course before. Maybe this will give me a better run up if I tried this on the whippet to get up more speed into this corner for the trench. I've tried so much time off camera trying to keep the whippet straight and going through this trench. It just will not go up the other side for me. I hope I'm not going to jinx this tank to get up. No, it does it with absolute no trouble at all. Well, the whippet will forever be my failure of a tank, I think, just because I can't get it around the course. I must say I quite like this tank. Just the turning circle on it is so much agility compared to the Mark 1 series. Oh, I'll switch guns. Oh, it's not a good angle. Still quite difficult to get the correct elevation with these guns. There's not much to it. I might go off-road and see if I have better luck this way. Shooting everywhere but at the target. Well, that's one way to do the targeting. Not the most efficient, effective. Just drive up point blank range. It's a pity we can't just run over the targets, but this little Schneider's gonna make it very easily. So seeing as I'm ending off this episode, if you've got any suggestions for this tank, so far I've got Bilby's covered, I've got Joey's covered. The Mark 5s are going to be the Echidna series of tanks, but if there's any Australian critter that you want to see as a mark for this tank, then put your suggestion in the comments and I will endeavour to make it so. And this is my first medium tank to make it round the course since the beta, where I got a Hornet round. But that is most excellent. It's quite a nice little car, well, not car, tank to drive. I must have missed a target somewhere along the way because I normally finish on that mark, but I'll have to take out that car. Okay, I'm not sure if these cards are in the game yet because there's the ability to play cards on the side of a battle, but it hasn't come across yet, so this is still a feature that needs to be included. At the moment it's just the fun of driving around the course, which is the outcome of the drive. So I'm going to finish it off there for today's episode, guys, but yeah, let me know what you think. Are you guys planning on getting the game when it drops on the 6th of February? And I'll be back with another episode tomorrow, and any names for the Schneider CA that you'd like to see. Okay, take care all. Bye.